So let's start from this position. The idea I mentioned before that ethics is essentially up to each of us. So if you think that abortion is wrong and you think that abortion is right, there's no truth between the two of you. It's individually subjective, and in that sense, it's just like other things that are subjective, of which the classic examples would be matters of taste, okay? You like a lot of garlic on your pizza, and you don't like garlic on your pizza. There's no point in arguing about that. You know, you have the pizza the way you like it, and you can have the pizza the way you like it, you just wouldn't get into a real discussion there. You know, you might say, look, just taste this, don't, you know, savour it, roll it around your tongue. Don't you think it's really great? But if the other person does that and says, oh, no, it's still repulsive, there's nothing much more that you can do. So perhaps ethics is in some way like that. Now, as I say, there's various labels for different views, which, again, I'm not going to go into details. If you read Rachel's, you'll get some understanding of at least some of these. So what I've been talking about is subjectivism in general, that ethical judgments depend on the individual subject. Non-cognitivism is simply a way of saying there's nothing really to be known. So it draws a contrast between things which are matters of knowledge. They might be very difficult things of knowledge, but they're still matters of knowledge. So, for example, do human emissions of carbon dioxide affect the climate of the planet? That's a matter of knowledge. There's perhaps there's some room for dispute whether they do or don't, but there is a truth about that. There must be a truth, and no doubt eventually the science, if the science is not already settled, the science will be settled. But according to some views, in ethics it's not like that. There's nothing to be known. Emotivism, as the term suggests, says that really we're expressing our emotions. When we make ethical judgments, we're just expressing our emotional attitudes. No cognitive content to it. Expressivism, also like that, says moral judgments are expressions. They're not statements, so you can distinguish statements which purport to state facts from expressions of emotions. And realism and anti-realism are pretty obvious. The claim that there's nothing real, there's nothing out there in the world, if you like, that corresponds to the truth of an ethical judgment. So anti-realism is on this same side here. And what you have to think about is, well, are differences in ethical judgments like differences in taste? Obviously, we do seem to have more discussion and more argument about ethical differences than we do about differences of taste. So at the very least, those who want to defend this view or this family of views need to explain why we persist in trying to argue about ethical views. Why don't we just treat them as matters of taste? One response here is to say, well, they're more momentous. It matters to us and to other people what people think are right or wrong. If they don't think that certain things are wrong, they're going to do horrible things, and the rest of us don't want them to do those horrible things. So it matters more. Okay, it matters more, but it still doesn't totally explain the situation, because it might matter more, but still you'd think we would eventually realise that there just is nothing more to be said. And we'd stop arguing about it, and perhaps we'd try to coerce people who do really bad things, as in fact we do through the criminal law, but we wouldn't continue to argue about it. So that's the difficulty that the subjectivists have.